Welcome to the Drew Rice Show. I'm Marky Billson. It's brought to you by Neighborhood Ford. From our neighborhood, here is Neighborhood Ford in Irwin. Drew Rice, the Unicoi County Blue Devils, 5-1, going for their first winning record since 1996. Now, I know you're a native of Irwin, but when you were a little boy, do you remember going to any of the football games in 1996 by any chance?
I don't. I'm sure I was there, and I certainly remember going to games, when I was younger, and that I guess that's probably about the age, like kindergarten, first grade, when you start to have a very precise memory on things. So I'm sure I was there. I don't, certainly remember the difference in a '96 season or a '99 season or anything else, but I'm sure I was there, for a couple of games, but it's certainly been a while.
Well, I was actually the broadcaster of that team. It wasn't my first broadcasting gig, but it was one of the first. And I know that some of the star players on that team, one was one of your predecessors, Jared Huskins, who went on to become a running back at Tusculum, and Nick Lingerfeld has lately made a lot of headlines as a coach as well, and he was a captain on that team. Do you have any relationships with those two people at all?
Yeah, they actually both coached. They were assistants when I played here, and then I was lucky enough to coach with Coach Huskins for 2 years. My first 2 years coaching were under Coach Huskins, and I just think I think the world of Jared, and I feel like I learned a lot in those first 2 years, and learned how to work hard, and like I said, just I'm very, very thankful for my time with Coach Huskins, and he's a lot of the things we do, program wise, as far as our housekeeping things and the ins and outs of how we organize things, or things I got from him. So yeah, and we still talk regularly. He's down in Florida now, but we still speak probably a couple times a week. So yeah, definitely got a great relationship with him. And Coach Lingerfeld's he's still in the area, and I don't speak to him as much, but yeah, he's when I got the job, he called me and congratulated me and things like that. So yeah, that's definitely two people from that team that I know very well.
He was my guest on Tri-Cities Sports Now this afternoon. Dick Lingerfeld is an old friend. What is Huskins doing? Jared Huskins doing in Florida? I should ask that.
His wife his wife is in the medical field, and she took a job down there, and they moved their family down there, and he was homeschooling his kids for a while, and now he's actually, I believe, teaching and maybe even coaching a little bit in there. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's like a younger level or something like that. But he's doing well, and like I said, I've got a ton of respect for him, and I feel very fortunate to have been able to coach with him.
Now, perhaps speaking of winning records is a bit counting your chickens before they hatch, because Chuckey-Doak does figure to be a classic trap game. Of course, that kind of also figured to be the case of Sullivan Central last week. You were able to defeat them 42-0. Do you think that was the best game the Blue Devils have played this year?
Maybe so. I think the last 2 weeks, the Claiborne game and the Central game both, I really feel like we've started clicking and kind of firing on all cylinders. And, it's two games that we've had, two good starts in. That's been a common theme for us to emphasize those good starts. And, the last 2 weeks, I've been very, very pleased with how we've played and how we've executed, and our intensity, and all the kind of minor things that we talk about. So I hope we can keep it going. That's the plan.
So what is it that is better now? I mean, we've talked about getting off to strong starts, but why? What is the change these last 2 weeks? Caliber of opponent, a new strategy? What is it?
I don't know. You like to think.
You don't know.
I don't. Like I said, the slow starts early in the year were always, it just puzzled us. But you'd like to think as the year goes on, you get better. You do the same reps, and you do the same drills, and you do the same plays, and when you watch film and you see, this was a good job, but it could be great if we did this. So we spend a lot of time watching film and trying to get better. And even if you look at last year, I think that was kind of what saved our season, is we got better each week, and survived that bad start. But so I think that's the case, and just the repetitions of it. I mean, we've been practicing now for goodness, almost 3 months, So, it's if you're not getting better by now, then you're probably doing something wrong. So I think it's just a matter of our guys getting a lot of reps. And, we've got some guys on defense especially that hadn't played a whole lot of football before this year. So, having 5 or 6 games under their belt now, I think is really starting to make a difference.
We'll take a break after this word from Neighborhood Ford on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities, WEMB Irwin. Welcome back to the Drew Rice Show, brought to you by Neighborhood Ford. You mentioned before we broke first-year players on the Unicoi County Blue Devils. That is a sign, I think, of the times where more athletes are coming out for football. I know your predecessor, Glenn White, spoke of that and was somewhat successful. What's your pitch that you're now making to get players to come out for football?
Well, we try to really, recruit our hallways, and that's been a big focus of mine and our staff since I've took this job. It's not like college where you get to go around the country and pick kids out. You get what's here, and there's 350, 400, young men walking the halls here, and, we try to get the best ones. So we feel like we've have done a pretty good job of that. The first one that comes to mind is Danny Lowry. He's he's been a basketball player, and of course I coached him in basketball when I was coaching basketball when I was an assistant. So I think my background there has helped us a little bit. But no, he's just been a tremendous story, to come out and to be such a big kid and as athletic as he is and moves like he does. He's just been tremendous. But, Ty Thielen plays a lot of special teams for us, the basketball player, and between the basketball program and the baseball program, we've really gotten a lot of kids that hadn't played a lot of football until they got in high school. So, ideally they would be playing in middle school, but and things like that, but they haven't been, and that's certainly a focus of ours. And our middle school right now is 6-1, which is tremendous. So we're super excited about that, and Coach Howell down there does a great job, and that's really something that we're excited about, and we're hoping to get those kids playing in 6th and 7th grade. If Danny Lowry was playing football in 7th grade and he's been playing the last 5 years, there's no telling what he would look like right now, because people can't block him right now, and he's been playing football for 4 months. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah, that's been a huge focus of ours, and to get every kid in this high school that can help us, and I feel like we've done a pretty good job of that, and I think our numbers reflect that, and I think our depth reflects that. So, we've got, Brock is the only sophomore that starts, and, Robbie Odell plays a little bit, and other than that, there's not many sophomores playing, So that I think that speaks to our depth and sort of the quality depth that we have.
And you mentioned Lowry. I know he's one of the area's leaders in tackles for loss, so that shows you about an unsung hero. I do want to ask you, though, is having Mike Smith on the staff, do you think that is an aid in trying to get everybody to come out for football? Because you've been around here, and in the past there was a feeling, you played here, in fact, there was a feeling that the best athletes didn't always come out for football. Ed Whitson very famously quit football after 9th grade. Do you feel that having the athletic director on your staff sort of changed that, and it's now all the athletes should play all the sports at Unicoi County?
Well, I think that certainly has a lot to do with, Coach Smith, who's our athletic director and head, basketball coach, and even Coach Gillis, who's our baseball coach. We've got a tremendous relationship, and I coached with Coach Smith, coached me personally, and then I coached with him during my time of coaching basketball, and I've known Coach Gillis a long time, and they both do so much for us. They drive the bus for us. They help us paint the field. So I think our relationship with those two guys has been tremendous. And they encourage their guys to come play for us. And we, if we've got guys that could help them, we encourage them to go help them. So I think that makes a huge difference. I really do. Just to have all of us kind of on the same page, and we all understand that. A kid that, can help me can probably help them, and so we all kind of recognize that, and I think that's been a huge advantage for all of us.
The final question I want to ask of the Drew Rice Show to Drew Rice. Hey, Chuckey-Doak, we mentioned it has the potential of being a trap game. What impresses you about the Black Knights?
Well, I think a whole lot of Coach Murphy. Coach Murphy, who's been there a long time, and I just really respect him and his staff and the job they do. And they're always tough. They do a good job, and they've kind of changed some things they're doing offensively and spreading it out a little bit more and kind of branching out. And they've got some good athletes. So they're trying to get those guys the ball and space, and watching them on film, they're tough. They really are. They had the first game of the year they beat Pigeon Forge. I think that's a very, very quality win against a traditionally very good football team. So, and have had some close games. And I just think they're very tough. So we haven't taken them lightly by any means. So, but.
That's the Drew Rice Show, brought to you by Neighborhood Ford. From our neighborhood to yours, Neighborhood Ford in Irwin. Back with the kickoff after this.